Welcome to the March 4, 2019 Frankfort Village Board meeting. We call this meeting to order and we ask our clerk, Adam Borelli, to take the roll, please.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Holland.
Here.
Trustee Clavio. Here. Trustee Heath.
Here.
Trustee Kennedy. Here. Trustee Ogle. Here. Trustee Stevens. Here. Trustee Trevarthen is absent. The village clerk is present. Attorney Lamore. Here. Police Chief Barika. Village Administrator Pisha. Here. Assistant Administrator Cook.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on our agenda is what we call the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the unanimous consent agenda will be voted on after a single motion. If one of the trustees wants to discuss one of those items in more detail, we'll just remove it from the consent agenda. So I first ask, do any trustees want to remove any items from the consent agenda? Not hearing any requests to remove anything, I will at this time entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Mayor. Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Stevens and a second by Trustee Ogle to approve the consent agenda. And we do want the people here in our boardroom audience, and we have quite a few people here tonight, and welcome to all of you. But we do want you to know something about the items that we're passing, and it'll just take a minute, and then we're going to get to you. And we do want the people on the television and on the internet who watch this broadcast to know something about the things that we're passing tonight. So we'll go over each one of them very briefly. The first item on the consent agenda is the approval of our minutes from our last meeting on February 19th, which is certainly a very routine item indeed. The second item is the approval of all of our bills. So we'll go to the chairperson of our Finance Committee, Trustee Heath, for a report on those.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The bills are smaller this time. They total $472,780.12. Included in there is about $101,000 for our wastewater treatment capital program. In the general fund area, we had our garbage bill as the largest item. That was $115,000, and that includes the fees that we also pay for recycling. $59,000 for salt, because we ran through a lot of salt in the month of February, which I'm sure everyone who lives in this town understands. And then finally, I'll just mention our payment to the 911 dispatch center of $30,000 was done this month. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
And then we also have three rather routine items from our Plan Commission, and we'll go to our Plan Commission liaison, Trustee Stevens, for a report on those.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. The first item tonight is the Corbett side yard setback variance. Kevin and Allison Corbett proposed to construct an addition to their existing single-family home located at 22 Pacific Street in our Old Town area. Now, the majority of this construction is for a second-floor addition to the home, but however, a single car garage addition is proposed on the western end of the first floor, and this garage encroaches into the side yard setback, so they're requesting a variance of 5 feet 11 inches to construct this garage so they don't have to encroach on a rather large tree in their front yard. The second item is the McLean accessory structure setback variance. The McLeans have come to this board in the past and have had several variances approved for a new home that they're building at 140 Walnut Street. The original plans contemplated a concrete stoop at the rear entrance of the home, but however, after beginning construction, they've noticed that the grade change is such that they are proposing to construct a raised deck at the same reduced 5-yard setback that they received initially for the construction of the home. And finally, the last item is for a Great American Bagel. It's a special use permit for carry-out restaurant. As you know, Great American Bagel locates a manufacturing carry-out facility at 9326 Corsair Road, where their business has been so great that they want to expand the manufacturing. So they're moving the carry-out portion of their business to 9527 Corsair Road, just down a little bit to the west. and they're seeking special use permit for that carryout. All three of these items were reviewed at our February 14th Plan Commission meeting, and all of these items were approved by a unanimous vote. And that's all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Cindy. Those are all the items on our consent agenda this evening, so before we vote on them, is there anyone in the audience who wanted to make a comment to the village board about any of these items? Not hearing any. Any questions or comments from the trustees? We'll go to our clerk, Adam Borelli, for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Trustee Clavio?
Yes.
Trustee Heath?
Yes.
Trustee Kennedy?
Yes.
Trustee Ogle?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And therein lies the business of the evening, until we get to the most important business of the evening, and that's the first item on the mayor's report, and it is recognition of the Lincoln Way East varsity cheer team. It's certainly a pleasure for this board to recognize the Lincoln Way East varsity cheer team for their outstanding achievement in winning the Illinois High School Association competitive cheerleading state championship on February 2nd in Bloomington, Illinois. Now, ladies, if you would join me up in the front here, maybe you can get over here. The camera angle, there's a camera over there that can pick all of you up, and I'm going to come up to the podium and I'm going to read this proclamation for the cameras. Thank you. Parents who want to take pictures, that's absolutely fine. So this is great. This is, you know, I've seen I didn't get to go to your championship match, but I have seen you perform in person, and I have seen the video of your championship match, and people who haven't seen that need to see it. You are all truly athletes in the finest term for athletes. So congratulations, and you really did great, and you represented our community extremely well, and we appreciate it. So this proclamation reads, whereas on February 2nd, 2019, the Lincoln Way East varsity cheer team won the Illinois High School Association competitive cheerleading state championship in Bloomington, Illinois. And whereas this talented team of student athletes captured the large team state title for the 4th time in the past 6 seasons, 2014, 15, 17, and 19. And whereas this hard-working team received a score of 91.56, the best out of all other schools competing in the large team division. And whereas the members of this elite cheer team garnered numerous championship titles, including the grand champions at the Lincoln Way Central Knights Invite, Southwest Suburban Conference champions, and IHSA sectional champions, making them the first Lincoln Way varsity cheer team to win conference, sectionals, and state. And whereas co-head coaches Jason and Julianne Polad, assistant coaches Rachel Foster, Jen Steffen, and Zoe Mucha, athletic director Mark Vanderkoy, principal Sharon Mahalik, superintendent Dr. R. Scott Tingley, and the faculty and student body of Lincoln Way East High School are justly proud of the varsity cheer team's accomplishments. And whereas the exemplary 24 team members of the Lincoln Way East Griffins are Emma Barnard, Riley Bolsoni, Maddie Brokop, Jackie Brown, Sarah Campbell, Miranda Chancellor, Fiona Dees, Riley Fury, Angelina Galena, Tiffany Gergely, Alyssa Goodman, Claire Hawkinson, Carly Kalchbrenner, Grace Carana, Ava Martello, Emma O'Hagan, Caitlin Ortiz, Leah Ortiz, Lexi Salvaggio, Sarah Toussaint, Peyton Wallace, Hannah Williams, Ava Weiss, and Julia Zelenica. Now, therefore, all the good people of the Frankfort community recognize the Lincoln Way East varsity cheer team for their extraordinary achievement in winning the 2019 Illinois High School Association Competitive Cheerleading State Championship. So congratulations to all of you.
Okay.
And all these people worked a lot. And congratulate the parents.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say a thank you to our coaches and our parents for all that you've done for us. And I'm very proud of our team for all we've accomplished. So, yeah, I love you guys.
So that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, can you do a cheer? No, you can't do what you do on the. They can do something. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
We can do it.
No hitting the fan.
Is this thing? Where's the phone?
Wait, which way do you
Oh,
want us
boy.
to face? Let's face them. Yeah, let's face them. Guys, we're facing them. So we can walk. Oh, yeah.
Face that direction so the camera can catch your faces.
Oh, man.
Well, the camera will get it.
We're gonna face your way.
They'll figure it out.
Flip and hit. This will be better. No, super. This will be better. Oh.
Oh.
And for the car wheels, we can walk up. Oh. We can do it. This way. The camera's that way. Just look. Yeah, guys, the camera's that way. Wait. Bro, Jackie's going straight in.
They're old enough to understand cameras.
Well, can't Peyton? Can we move a little more this way? Guys, I'm sure. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, Peyton will go there. Alright, Peyton will climb up this thing. Guys, on the car.
Oh, this is going to be something.
I think you guys are very far from me. Alright, let's just go. Come on. Don't forget the plastic that we have.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3,
Come on, guys.
5, 7, 1, 2, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 5. Come on, don't do it.
I'm proud of us. Of course. Bro, the pyramid is so easy.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's fun.
Ay, ay, ay.
Double up. Emma.
So parents, does that make you nervous all the time watching that? Make me nervous.
Oh, with this box right there to land on and the fan and oh my God. Oh, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to the parents. We really appreciate what you do, too, to make all this happen. Bye. Well, that pretty well emptied the room. And the rest of the meeting really isn't as interesting. The annual Homeowners Association meeting is scheduled. That will take place Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. At the Frankfort Village Administration Building, 432 West Nebraska Street. The meeting designed for board members of homeowners associations or condominium associations will feature updates on village items of interest to participants in a presentation by Tom Skewers, the ACHTA board member, on the topic of importance of association education. 2019 Frankfort Community Showcase to be held March 16th. That's a fun event for the entire family. That takes place Saturday from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock on March 16th. It's at Lincoln Way East High School in the Field House. It'll have 100 businesses and organizations featuring their products. There's face painting and things for kids to do. Also, the high school sponsors artworks at the same time, and that's a fine arts festival with not just high school students, but also grade school students' art featured at the high school. And the art department opens up their rooms for people to go in and work on their own art projects. An interesting event for the entire community. Applications for committee appointments are now available. The village, this village board relies on committees and relies on residents to frankly give us advice and to participate in our government. And this is one of the great ways to do it. Applications are due 4 p.m. on Friday, April 5th. And these programs, the kind of committees we have, are community services that looks at all of the events in our downtown, 1890s theme committee, which talks about the H1 district and the appearance of buildings and such and how they fit into that zoning class in our downtown, to the Plan Commission that has legal authority and reviews any kinds of zoning appeals or lots of planning issues. And there's an operations committee that reviews most of our purchases and big ticket items. Anyway, they're kind of fun. If you ever wanted to get involved in government, it's a good way to do it. Applications are available at villageoffrankfort.com or the Village Administration building. So that concludes the mayor's report, and we'll move on to our police chief, John Barica, for some of his favorite subjects under the police department report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd just like to congratulate Lincoln Way Cheer. Over the last few years, I've been able to see them many times perform, and it seems like they can never get better, but they do every year. So it was a great job on them winning state. Like I said, they really have some great teams out there. I also like to remind folks about IRS scams. I myself have received 3 phone calls in the last week about them coming to get me and arrest me, but they do not send the police to come arrest you. It is not real. If you have a question, call the IRS, but if you're concerned, call us and we can look into it. But when they leave you messages and tell you that an officer's coming to get you, that's not true. And then finally, as we talked about many times, but has become a frustration point from the police department, our BMVs that are going on in town. We would again like to remind our residents, as we do every week, and I think I have for the past couple of years, to lock their vehicles. We continue to see these go on, and we have many residents who are asking what can they do or what can we do about the burglaries of motor vehicles. And we continue to tell people to lock your doors. We've had proof of it, and the one time we caught somebody a couple weeks ago that they walked up to cars, and when they were not open, they did not go into them. You know, if for no other reason, people may want to think about their insurance rates that will start going up because they do rely on crime rates for many insurance rates. So simply, like I said again, locking your vehicles, keep them secure, getting garage door openers that are inside those allows them to have access inside your garages. And we've even seen that happen now. They're pushing the doors to see what's inside the garages. But we recovered every stolen vehicle we've had has been recovered, either in the east suburbs or in the south side of Chicago. So they're coming back and they're just using them to get around. But they will continue to come back as they have here, New Lenox, Mokina, Glencoe, Winnetka, Kankakee, Bourbonnais. They are all over the place going into these cars, but they will continue coming until we stop them by just locking the doors. All cars have locks on them, so just lock it at night. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, John. And with that, we'll go to our Village Administrator, Rob Pisha, for the Village Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also want to congratulate Lincoln Way East cheer team. As you saw from their demonstration earlier, it's just an amazing effort that they put into it, and I know that, like all our athletes, how much work goes into getting prepared for a competition and to win state, and to do it as many years as the teams have been doing it is fantastic, and it just shows what a great program and how well the school is doing. I mean, how many teams we've recognized just in the last 6 or 8 months. Lincoln Way East community is being well represented by the high school. Also just want to remind residents, we get a lot of questions about the electronics recycling, and that it is available at the township. I believe it's on the first and third Thursdays that to turn in TVs. But if you go to the Will County Green website, they have all the information about recycling your electronics and also other hazardous household materials. That's it.
Well, thank you, Rob. And now for the Village Attorney's report, we go to Hannah Lamore.
No report tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. And that brings us to the part of our meeting we call Other Business, and this evening we'll start with our clerk, Adam Borelli.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some information regarding the upcoming April 2nd consolidated election. You can request vote by mail ballots right now, and they'll send them to your house. You put it back in the mail, and you're done. It's pretty easy. Also, you can register online, and all that information is available at thewillcountyclerk.com. We'll have early voting here at Village Hall starting March 18th, and that'll run through March 29th from 8:30 to 4 p.m. Not Saturday and Sunday, but the Monday through Fridays of those 2 weeks. Want to congratulate Lincoln Way East cheer team. I watched that performance, the routine that won the state title, and that was truly spectacular. I can't even do a backflip on a trampoline, so I don't know how they do it. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Adam. And we'll now go to Trustee Ogle.
Thank you, Mayor. To piggyback onto John's comments here, this continues to be a problem in all of northern Illinois. And it's really, you're seeing things that say lock it or lose it. The more that this happens down here, more people know that we continue to be a target because we're not securing our property down here. And the vehicles that they're coming down in tend to be vehicles that are already stolen. And then being used in the commission of a crime, the ones that they're stealing down here sometimes then are then also used in the commission of a crime. So it's important that we do pay attention. We do lock these things. And also, once someone gets inside your garage, that's a quick step into the house. So make sure that you've secured your inner door too, so they don't come any further. Want to congratulate the Lincoln Way East varsity cheer team. Fantastic. It's amazing what they're doing. As a parent, I'm going, oh my, I hope they don't hit the fan. It was much more than what I expected. And Trustee Kennedy and I were planning on exciting the crowd with our double somersault in front, but I think we'll do this, Bob. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Keith. Trustee Stevens.
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to congratulate the varsity cheer team. I have seen their routine, and the athleticism is amazing that they exhibit. It really is wonderful to see. As our administrator said, our Lincoln Way East High School has really done our community proud, and it speaks highly of all the students there. I also want to congratulate the coaches and, of course, the parents who also give up a lot of time making sure that their kids get to all the practices and all the meets. So congratulations to them all. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Mike. Trustee Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to congratulate all those outstanding young women and their coaches for their hard work and dedication that once again makes us proud to be here in Frankfort. I wanted also to mention something that's not in Frankfort, but it does affect all of us that are in this high school district. This coming Saturday, March 9th, at 2 o'clock, there's going to be a concert at the Lincoln Way Central Auditorium, and it's free to the public. What this is they're honoring Chuck Stark by naming the auditorium after him, and Chuck has been a long-time music director throughout this high school district, and I know there are several residents of Frankfort that are going to be performing at this concert, as well as some people who've actually excelled professionally in the music area, a large part due to Chuck and his efforts. So again, that's 2 o'clock this Saturday, March 9th at Lincoln Way Central's auditorium, and it is free. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Cindy. Trustee Kennedy.
You know, Mayor, in our February report here in March from the staff, we had 13 water main breaks that were repaired in February. So I want to thank the staff. While we're warm at home in our beds, we've got village employees that are out freezing, literally and figuratively, in holes trying to fix these water mains that happen when these breaks happen because of the freezing and the thaw. I just want to publicly thank the staff to go out and do that. It's one every 2 days, and you never know when they're coming, but they're going to be there. And then with the weather we've had now in March, I'm sure we're going to have a few more. So again, thank you to the staff for their commitment in keeping our sewers and our water safe. I want to thank the Lincoln Way East Varsity Cheer Team. Jason and Julianne Poland are super nice people. Jason's a very talented musician and a great influence on these kids. So I want to thank them and their families. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And Trustee Clavio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I echo my congratulations to the varsity cheer team, and especially to their family and their parents, because a lot of time goes into it for the whole family. Congratulations on that. And early St. Patrick's Day, because our next meeting will be after St. Patrick's Day. But for those of you from Poland, a happy Kazimierz Pulaski Day for the red color fans. And then the last thing I wanted to just hit on real quickly is that I was approached by a downtown business about how some of our citizens are less than attentive to the signs and the markings in the parking lots. Those markings are there for all of our safety, all of our make sure that we're protected by fires and things like that. And unfortunately, as we all know, sometimes our police can't get to the minor crimes because they're attending to bigger crimes. But that doesn't mean we can break the law and actually park in these spots. I'm embarrassed to say as a Frankfort resident that I've kind of been watching the lot behind Francesca's, and there's been at least a dozen cars that I've noted parked illegally in the last week. And it's kind of sad to say that they're Frankfort residents and they're just basically disregarding our own town and our own laws and stuff like that. So I would encourage our citizens to pay attention to the signs and the markings on the streets. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Good comments. And that brings us to the part of our meeting we call public comments. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment to the village board tonight? Oh, thank you.
My name is Claire Casitas, and I'm 17 years old. I go to Lincoln Way High School, or Lincoln Way East High School. I'm a part of Madrigals, Musical, a bunch of other anti-bullying clubs, freshman peer helper, a bunch of stuff. And in my community, I saw something that was less favorable. I saw something that did not display Frankfort's hospitable nature, and I feel it's something we can easily change. And it is the name of Indian Boundary Park, located about 2 blocks from downtown Frankfort. And upon hearing about this issue, I called the Park District to see if they had any information that was readily available. I called the Historical Society, and after about 2 weeks of calling, I didn't get any information really. And so I feel that this lack of information about the park just portrays the park and our hospitable and our nature in a less than favorable light. About 2 weeks after I called, the Historical Society called me back and said, hey, we have some information for you, and they sent it to me through email. And I found out that Indian Boundary Park, or Indian Boundary rather, is an actual boundary that runs a little west of our city, and I feel that since Frankfort isn't actually included in this city, or in this boundary rather, that our park is unfairly named. And so because of this, I have a couple proposals for the new name, if there should be one. One of which is Old Plank Trail Park, which is to represent the spirit of the trail and getting active with friends and your community. Or we could name it Keokuk Park, which is to commemorate a Sauk leader, a Native American tribe leader native to this area. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, thank you for bringing this up. I think it's interesting comments, and I'm glad the Historic Society did get back to you where the name came from, because there is a reason for it. And I agree, it wasn't exactly here in Frankfort, it was nearby. And I take it, do you have a concern about the name, that some people might find it offensive?
Yes, because
Yep.
there are better ways to recognize the Native American population in Frankfort, and I feel that a boundary isn't that. I feel like we could commemorate the history of it other than describing it as a boundary, because I don't really feel like Frankfort should have boundaries. I feel like we should all be open as we are. And so I contacted the Park District. I emailed them a couple times and no one got back to me, so I'm here presenting my issue. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you came to us, and you're right, the name of the park and the park itself is under the jurisdiction of the Park District, but we can say some things about it too, and
yeah.
Maybe we should discuss it some.
Definitely.
And if we have people who are concerned about a name, and maybe it's the two words together, boundary and Indian.
Exactly.
Somehow it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Or it could potentially be offensive, and I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see where it might be, and I'm glad you brought it up.
So is there anyone I can contact, because I emailed the Park District, I think it was the president, and I emailed all the board members and none of them got back to me. So is there any way that I could have someone's contact information to change this issue?
Yes. You can ask me to contact the Park District.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm asking.
That's one thing you can do.
Yeah.
And you've succeeded in doing that.
Oh. Nice.
But I would ask that you leave your contact information, because I think you speak very eloquently.
Oh, thank you.
And if there comes a time that we should go to the Park District and talk to them, I would hope that you would be willing to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Anybody else? Comments?
Can I make a global comment here?
Sure.
Our points noted that it can be frustrating when any of us emails any kind of entity and you don't get a response within days, let alone weeks. And one thing I'm proud of the Village of Frankfort is when people do email us, whether they're trying to reach the mayor or perhaps one of the trustees, we all are CC typically on that email. And I know we just had a few come in. One came to me for Presswick, one came to Trustee Ogle. I know, Mayor, you had one. So we do respond. I know I respond, I know we all respond. So just to reassure the public that when the village does get emails, we act on it. We don't sit there with our hands tied for 2 weeks. And if I don't respond, I'll check with staff and ask them to follow up. And that's just something I'm really proud of and have been for the 11 years I've served on this board, is we're a responsive group of people. That's all of my comment is, Mayor. Thanks.
Thanks, Bob. Anything else? All right. I guess there aren't any other comments from the public, but thank you for coming tonight. That's very interesting. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. I'll second that, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.